It is a little after 6 a.m. on a Saturday, sometime in the 90s, and you are the only person awake in the whole house. Nobody set an alarm. Nobody made you. You just opened your eyes because this was the one morning that belonged entirely to you, and you were not about to waste a single minute of it. This is not a list of cartoons. This is the sacred window, the few hours a week when the television belonged to kids and only kids. 15 of them. See how many were you, and stay to the end, because there is a strange, quiet reason this whole thing vanished, and almost nobody noticed the day it did. It started with the one impossible thing. You woke up early on purpose. The same kid who had to be dragged out of bed for school 5 days a week was somehow wide awake at dawn on a Saturday. No alarm, no parent, running on pure anticipation. Your body just knew. The cartoons were on, and every minute you slept was a minute you would never get back. Be honest, what time did you get up on a Saturday? And then came the mission. Get to the television without waking your parents. You crept down the hall in your socks. You eased down the stairs, skipping the one that creaked, and you turned the TV on with the volume already low, because if mom or dad woke up, the magic was over. This was your time stolen fair and square while the adults slept. Every kid in America was running the exact same quiet operation at the exact same hour. Next, fuel, and not a normal breakfast. You poured yourself a bowl of the brightest, sweetest, most artificially colored cereal in the house, the kind with the cartoon mascot on the box, and you poured it to the very top, because nobody was watching the portions this morning. You ate it on the floor, way too close to the screen, and when the cereal was gone, you drank the sweet colored milk straight from the bowl. What was the specific cereal in your Saturday bowl? Then you settled into position, and the position was always the same, cross-legged on the carpet, about 18 inches from the glass. Your parents told you it would ruin your eyes. You did not care. You were still in your pajamas, the curtains were still drawn, and the warm glow of that boxy TV lit up your face in a dark, quiet room. That specific feeling, alone with the cartoons and the blue morning light, is a thing no kid will ever feel the same way again. And you did not just watch whatever was on. You knew the lineup by heart. You knew which show came on at 7, which at 8, which at 9, and you planned bathroom breaks and cereal refills around it because there was no pausing and no rewinding. If you missed it, it was gone for a whole week. Some kids even circled their shows in the TV guide the night before. This was appointment television, and the appointment was sacred. And here is the wild part. You did not even fast forward the commercials because you could not and because you loved them. You knew every jingle, every cereal mascot, every toy ad word for word. The commercials were aimed at you like a laser, right at the exact hour millions of kids were sitting on the floor, and they worked. You saw a toy at 8 a.m. and you were asking for it by 8:05. Which commercial jingle is stuck in your head right now? Of course, if you had a brother or a sister, the peace did not last. There was one TV, one channel could be on at a time, and two kids who did not agree. You fought over the dial, or later the one remote. You called dibs. You did the "I was here first," and sometimes a parent had to yell down the stairs to settle it. But you watched together on the same floor in front of the same screen, and you would give a lot to have one of those arguments back. And then there were the shows, the actual reason you were awake. The superhero cartoons, the ones based on video games, the goofy ones, the slightly scary ones. X-Men, Ninja Turtles, Animaniacs, the whole rotating cast of Saturday. You had your ride or die show, the one you would fight anyone to watch, and its theme song can still start playing in your head from the first 2 notes. Which show was your show? Say it in the comments, I want to see them. When a show you did not love came on, you did not change the channel and lose your spot. You read the cereal box, front to back, every word, the puzzles, the maze, the tiny comic, the promise of a prize buried somewhere in the bag. You had read that same box 40 times and you read it again because it was there and because digging your hand to the bottom for the plastic prize was its own small event. Did you dig for the prize or wait for it to pour out? Now here's something you did not know as a kid. Some of your favorite cartoons were basically 30-minute toy commercials, and that was suddenly newly legal. In the early 1980s, the rules on advertising to kids were loosened, And a wave of shows built entirely around toys came flooding in. He-Man, launched in 1983, is the classic example. The show existed to sell the action figures. You thought you were picking your favorites. A lot of the time, the toy came first and the cartoon was the ad. Did you own the toys from your favorite show? Almost everybody did. And tucked between the cartoons were the little lessons, the short educational bits, the ones that taught you how a bill becomes a law or how a number worked, set to a song so catchy you can still sing it decades later. Schoolhouse Rock and its cousins slipped real learning into the sugar rush, 90 seconds at a time, and it worked better than any classroom because you were not being made to watch. You just were. Can you still sing one of them right now? But the window did not stay open. Every Saturday, right around noon, it slammed shut. The cartoons gave way to the stuff you did not care about. The sports, the news, the fishing shows, the infomercials. The exact moment the cartoons ended and adult television took back the screen, you felt it like a door closing. The magic was over for another 7 days, and there was nothing to do but turn it off and go find out what the actual day held. And that was the strange gift of it. When the cartoons ended, you were done with the TV. You were not going to sit and watch golf, so you got dressed, you found your shoes, and you went outside into a whole Saturday that was still completely yours. The morning belonged to the couch and the cereal. The afternoon belonged to the bikes in the street. Nobody scheduled any of it. You just moved from one kind of freedom to the next. And here is what made it sacred. It was only ever Saturday. There was no cartoon channel you could turn on anytime you wanted. There was no app, no library of every episode ever made sitting in your pocket. If you wanted cartoons, you got up at dawn on one specific morning a week and you took what they gave you. That scarcity is the whole reason it mattered so much. When something is everywhere, all the time, it stops being an event. Back then, it was the biggest event of the week. So what happened to it? Nobody blew it up. It just quietly went away for 2 reasons. First, the law changed. A 1990 act, tightened by the FCC in 1996, required stations to air real educational children's programming every single week and capped the ad time, which slowly pulled the ground out from under the pure cartoon block. Second and bigger, cable made everyday Saturday. Once you could watch cartoons any hour of any day, the one sacred morning stopped being special, and so it faded show by show until the very last Saturday morning cartoon block on the big broadcast networks aired its final episode in September of 2014. And here is the saddest part. Almost nobody noticed the morning it ended. So that was Saturday morning. Up at dawn, the Tiptoe, the giant bowl of cereal, the glow of the screen in a dark, quiet house, and a window that only opened once a week. A whole generation grew up inside those few hours, and then the world quietly closed them and did not even send a note. That is what this channel is, holding on to the things that made us before they slip away for good. So tell me, and I read every single comment, which show got you out of bed and which one did I leave out? And do the thing, tag the brother, sister, or friend who sat on that floor next to you. If this took you back, subscribe. There is a new one every week.